with us Daye Gang, who practices all the way from Victoria, Australia. Morning, Daye.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Right. Off we go then. So, first question, why choose advocacy?
I didn't choose advocacy. It chose me because it was the one major skill I was missing when I realized I wanted to be part of a future reunification process on the Korean Peninsula. And now that I'm here, I really enjoy it.
I see. Well, that was quite quick. Best lesson from someone leading you?
6 different formulations of you can't do everything. Slow down, Daye, take your time, do that thing later, get funding for it first.
Yes, that's excellent advice. Yes, number 3. If someone who's leading you asked, Daye, what could I do better to make you learn? What would you say to that person?
1, give me the context of the brief and the task. 2, tell me how you like to work and how you want me to wrap around you. 3, give me clear and honest feedback and point me to how I can improve for next time.
You really thought about these answers, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see that. All right. 10 years from now, Ms. Gang, what do you want to do?
I would like to have a stint in an international criminal or an investigative mechanism, or I'd like to contribute to designing one myself.
Right. Could I ask why specifically criminal law?
Because the rules of evidence and procedure are much stricter than in other forms of or other areas of the profession. And so I found it to be a logical choice if I were to eventually go into, say, international law or help to design a reunification process where some of those concepts would come into play, such as victim compensation.
Mm-hmm. At the stage of the career that you are now, which do you prefer, trials or interlocutories, appeals, stuff like that?
I would say trials and hearings because it's a little bit like conducting a full orchestra, or at my level of experience, it sounds more like a high school string quartet.
Right. Okay. Now, you've got several years already in the bar. What would you say to people behind you on the road? 3 pieces of advice.
Sure. So 1, the legal profession is also an industry and a market. It's not just a profession. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to ask a lot of questions about which areas of law are flourishing, which are not. I lucked into my career, but you increases your chances of a happy first few years in the profession by figuring out which field of law is blooming, which law firms are good places to work, what the red flags are in your interview processes for firms that are not so good. 2, self-doubt and low confidence affect everybody, including me, including the most senior lawyers and judges that you can think of that are in the news constantly. And the earlier you can figure out how to let those feelings go, the happier you will be. And this is always a question and an answer that is unique to you personally. 3rd is for all the minoritized lawyers and law students. It gets really lonely out here, even if you're surrounded by the most supportive people, and the more successful you are, the more lonely it gets. So learn to trust your intuition because it's compiled decades of big data for you to draw on specifically. That data set is tailored to you. So know that sometimes the usual advice doesn't work for you and that you'll have to make up your own way or draw specifically on other minoritized lawyers who have been able to make things work. And this is why mutual support is so crucial for your future success.
I must say, that's brilliant. Right.
Thank
okay.
you.
Worst thing about being a junior at the bar?
Oh, sure. That one's easy. Constant and never-ending self-doubt that everybody secretly thinks that you're terrible, but they're just being nice to your face because that's the culture of the legal profession in Victoria.
All right. So what makes you go to work every day, Daye?
I like the intellectual challenge of getting a big brief with, a PDF of several hundred pages and figuring out what is the really important stuff and what is the legally significant material that you have to take into court. And I also like to buy food for our 2 very spoiled cats.
Great. And okay, who have you learned from the most during your legal career?
My 2 PhD supervisors, Associate Professor B.B. Loff and Dr. Maggie Kirkman. My first boss, Justice Paul Cronin, formerly of the Family Court of Australia. They have been with me since my very first year in or out of law school, and I've learned a lot from them. And then more recently, as I've come to the bar, my mentor Rowan Lawrence and one of the Silks, so the SCs on my floor, Julian McMahon. So you can tell that I'm blessed with several generations of a legal family.
Right. Now that you've been in the bar for several years, what is the biggest misconception you had before you joined the bar?
I had the misconception that I would not be a suitable person for it, but now that I'm here, actually, it makes a lot of sense that I'm enjoying the work.
Why do you have that misconception that you thought that you were not suitable to for the bar?
I did not know any lawyers growing up, anyone in professional services. I didn't know anything about the legal profession. Growing up for me was a matter of survival. We grew up not particularly comfortable and not particularly stable. So I think you could say that we were a precarious family. The only reason why I went into law school really was because I had the grades to support it. And then the rest of law school was really a wild ride of self-doubt, thinking I won't be able to get a clerkship at a commercial law firm. There's no way that I'll get it. Sorry,
Right.
the sound. I'll just start
No
that.
worries.
I'll just start that sentence again because my cat just jumped off my desk. I went into the legal profession and into law school always thinking that's not going to be me. That's not going to be me. There's no way that I'm going to get an internship or a clerkship or a graduate position at a commercial law firm. I don't know anything about government. The barrister life is definitely not for me. That's only what really, really intelligent people do, and that's not me. All of my big career decisions have come from other people recognizing my potential and saying, Daye, you can do this. Why not try it? I'll help you. And so for what I lacked in understanding of the legal profession and in confidence in myself, I was really blessed to have met at a key stage in my career development people who are willing to bet on me.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Daye Gang.
Thanks for having me.
That. That's brilliant.